ChatGPT, you know, that thing that's coming for everybody's job. Well, I'm a bit of a skeptic because honestly, I just see ChatGPT as Google plus Reddit, but faster. But here on this channel, we don't just crap on new technology that we don't understand and yell at the cloud like an old madman. No. We put things to the test. What's going on, people? How are you all doing? And yes, for 1 week straight, I tried ChatGPT to see if it would change my life like it is depicted in the ads that are shoved down our throats every single day. But before we get into this research, press subscribe, because for every subscriber we get, another tech bro out there builds another AI program to fill the void of not having a girlfriend. So how did we get here? Personally, in my everyday life, I don't need to use ChatGPT. I can do my job and my hobbies and live my everyday life without even having to think about using this technology. But it got me thinking that these companies are doing a great job into gaslighting us into believing that we do have all these problems that only they can solve. I've never even downloaded this app before, and to prove it, I screen recorded the first time that I downloaded this app just for this video, because I have been many things in my life before, but a liar is not one of them. Now, a normal person before jumping into an experiment like this would get on their moral high horse and talk about how devastating this is for the environment and what they're going to do to offset their carbon footprint while using this technology for a week straight. But unfortunately for me, I'm just a silly YouTuber who barely passed high school, so I don't know how much this costs and I don't know where to donate my money to. But I can promise that if this video does blow up, I will use ChatGPT to ask me where I can offset my carbon footprint while using it for a week straight. See, I'm already finding a use case for this technology. Now, the first task I got ChatGPT to do for me was write out a bunch of roast jokes that I had for a roast battle coming up. It was my first roast battle and I was kind of workshopping jokes all week, and I thought to myself, hey, let's see what this computer can do. So I tried to be as descriptive as possible for my friend Anna that I was roasting, so I could give ChatGPT the best chance of giving me the best jokes possible. These were the first results that it gave me.
I'm gonna be honest, out of all three of these rows, the first one is possible, and that's it. The second one makes no sense though. I've read it so many times and I still don't understand what it's trying to say. Like, I get the premise, but it just has such a poor execution of a joke, actually as a sentence in general. Like, the second joke is a perfect example of a computer writing a joke, because this doesn't make sense as a sentence. Like, if I said this on stage, everyone would be like, what? I don't understand what you're trying to say, because this doesn't make sense in the English language. Even my dog agrees. Honestly, there's like too many nuances that need to be explained to understand what these jokes are trying to say, you know, like the messaging behind the jokes. That's what I'm trying to say as a big brain comedian.
Now, I'm not here to talk about nuances of comedy and why these jokes are not funny, but I think anyone could read this and think to themselves, ugh, you know, cringe millennial much? Again, I can understand the premise and where it's trying to go with these jokes, but if you have to say these out loud to an audience, they're not going to understand a word that you're saying. Because between you and me as a comedian, audiences, they're a little silly sometimes, they're a little stupid. So you have to explain things to them as simple as possible. But I would file these jokes under the most generic possible jokes that you could come up with a slight sprinkle of millennial cringe. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted to turn the dial up a little bit. I want to get on Kill Tony, for God's sake. So I asked ChatGPT to be meaner. And this is what it gave me, just a slight variation of the first results. The only joke that's usable here is the last one. I did give like a little nose laugh when I saw this one. And personally, I probably should have used this joke because, honestly speaking, I did lose the roast battle. So maybe there is something to this computer that I don't know about. Hey, next time I have a roast battle or a comedy show, follow me on Instagram, because my whole set, it's all ChatGPT, baby. The next thing that I had to do was do an Instagram post. You know, that platform that no one really uses anymore, but I thought to myself, hey, I have a bunch of work that I've done this year that I want to share out to the world, and I can just sit here and write it myself, but let's make the computer do all the work, okay? So I asked it to write me a caption, and again was trying to be as descriptive as possible as to what I was trying to go for with the Instagram caption. And to be honest, I actually have no complaints about this. I think this is a pretty usable Instagram caption because it's 2025, and I don't think many people read captions anymore. The problem is, I could have just done this myself. By the time that I opened the app and asked for the prompt, get the prompt, copy and paste it into Instagram and press post, I could have just written my own caption. And that's exactly what I did. We are halfway through these tasks here, and I'm yet to be remotely surprised as to what this technology can do for me. But I was interested in seeing what more this could do for me rather than just spit out a bunch of words for me to read. I was interested to see what kind of diagrams it could come up with because I work in the film industry, I have a lot of shoots coming up, and a big thing of my job is I like to sit down with the crew and figure out the shot plan and more importantly, how we're going to map out the lights and the talent for the shoot day. So I wanted to keep things simple at first and not stress out the computer too much and ask it for a simple lighting setup for this YouTube setup because I just use 2 lights and there's nothing too complicated about it, so it should be easy. And it spat me out a very basic textbook 101 lighting plan, and I thought to myself, hey, show me a diagram, all right? I want to see this work in progress. So I just asked ChatGPT to write me out or sketch me out a lighting plan, and I don't know how many of y'all need images, but this is taking a long time. This is like a very simple sketch. I don't understand what's taking this computer so long. I have a YouTube video to film, and I can't do it in this lighting. What is this? Okay, maybe I was being dramatic. This only took like 5 minutes to do, but honestly, I could have Googled this. Again, these results don't wow me whatsoever. Again, the time that I took to ask ChatGPT to give me this diagram, I could have just looked this up on myself. And I'm not here to criticize the nuances for it and how I don't want this particular light of setup because there is no right or wrong answer here, okay? I think this is a passable lighting setup. The problem, again, is that I could have just looked this up for myself. And this is like the type of stuff that you learn on like the first day of film school. So again, I wanted to challenge the computer and I wanted it to turn the dial up a little bit because I was pitching for a commercial, ironically for an AI company, and I needed to map out a large area for a particular scene. Again, I was trying to be as descriptive as I could, and the results it gave me via text, it was a lot, because personally speaking, I'm not a reader whatsoever. I'm a visual learner. So again, I asked it to sketch me a diagram, and this was the result.
What the fuck is this? I love how all it did was just take the first diagram and just made it bigger with more lights and more people.
I love how even the computer is lazy. It's like, hey, didn't you see the first thing I spat out for you, dummy? Just think about it. If there was a bigger room and more people, you just add more people and you add more lights, but in the same area. This image, I feel like, is something that a film professor would give you who is washed up and really annoyed that his career didn't go anywhere and he shows up to class hungover every single day. It's like, look, just put the people in the room and put the lights up, okay? It's not that fucking hard. Again, there are a lot of nuances with my career, and I was thinking to myself, all right, let's try to eliminate some of the lights here. Let's put a big window in there because that's what I wanted to do for this particular scene of this commercial that I was pitching for. And again, it more or less gave me the same, and I'm not here to tell you why this diagram sucks. What you need to do is go to film school, be on set day in, day out for 10 years straight, and you will come back to me on this video and comment, wow, yeah, Warwick, that diagram really does suck. Again, this is where the technology really frustrates me because it is giving truthful information, but I don't think it really understands nuances. And looking at this gave me a huge breath of fresh air because people keep saying ChatGPT and AI is coming for the film industry. And after running this test, breath of fresh air, I think my job is safe. But I did think to myself, there's images here. I know that this technology can spit out image, and there it was in front of me the entire time. I can't believe I missed it. ChatGPT lets you create an image. And I thought to myself, this is great because I have a YouTube banner and a Patreon banner, which you can find my Patreon in the description link below. It's a small coffee price every single month for a whole bunch of bonus content. But I don't have a banner for either of these platforms. I'm thinking to myself, this is fantastic. This is a great opportunity to see what AI slop comes out of ChatGPT. But this YouTube banner test wasn't going to be your typical run-of-the-mill test, because I have a very talented wife that is a graphic designer with a decade of experience under her belt, and she's great at what she does, and I'm not saying that just because I married her. But I wanted to see if these two go head to head to see who would win, because I've seen post after post online talking about how this technology is going to get rid of graphic designers altogether, and I wanted to see if that was true. So I gave ChatGPT and my wife the exact same prompt and to see what they came up with. Again, I was trying to be as descriptive as I could, and this is what ChatGPT gave me. This is a multi-billion-dollar company that apparently is going to take over the world, and this is what it gave me. I'm sorry, what in the Microsoft Paint is this? This is something that I would design up as like a mock-up to give a designer and be like, hey, I'm terrible at this, but this is kind of the vibe that I'm going for, but just do this a million times better. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe ChatGPT is warming up a bit. Maybe it's just woken up and it hasn't had its coffee yet. Because if there's anything that we learned from the jokes earlier, is that it's a cringe millennial and can't do anything until it has its morning coffee. So I asked it to give me a completely different image and to do it in the correct dimensions of a YouTube banner. And this is what it came back with.
What you got? Damn. See? That is how you do a banner.
And all I'm going to say is thank God my wife is a graphic designer, because I could not put this up if I thought so. I'd put this up as a meme. Now, if you're looking at these two images and you think the ChatGPT one is better, I think you need to use ChatGPT to find the nearest optometrist, because you are fucking blind. So these are all the tasks that I could think of and come up with that I could utilize this technology for. And am I going insane here? I feel like this did nothing for me except for creating extra steps for what I would normally do in my everyday life. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm a genius here, but I have critical thinking skills and I can kind of put two and two together. And I love the hunt and the thrill of problem solving myself. But again, I have to remind you, this whole platform, this whole company, their mission is to make our lives easier. And did it make my life easier? I guess so, a little bit, but it didn't dramatically change my life like the internet or the iPhone did. But I wasn't done just yet, because I personally like to be proven wrong sometimes in my life. So I took it to my own social media and asked my entire audience what they use ChatGPT for and if this technology is as great as it is marketed to us as. I even went another step further and looked up YouTube videos from pro ChatGPT people to see what I'm missing here, because maybe I don't understand this technology completely and there is something that I'm missing and I'm not utilizing this correctly. I'm just here trying to find YouTube videos about ChatGPT just to see what other people out there are utilizing this for, and it's just still something I can't get my head around. I don't know if I'm acting like a boomer here, but people are saying, oh, you can use it to summarize like 2-hour-long podcasts, and I'm like, but why would you want to do that? Like, the point of listening to podcasts because you want to listen to them? Like, why would you want a summary of that? Another big one was like teaching you skills, using ChatGPT to teach you how to, like, I don't know, write an essay or, learn to play guitar or something like that. But can't you just use YouTube for this? Again, I don't know if I'm just sounding like a boomer here, but I'm still struggling to find how this thing is marketed every which way to us. Yet I'm still struggling to find something that's like insanely mind-blowing about it. Just saying. And I was trying to find use cases for it outside of creativity, because I can understand how creativity is just based on what you think is good and all that kind of stuff. I can understand it's a very unique thing. So I found this video and someone was saying, you can make money using ChatGPT by starting a branding agency, by helping companies come up with names and logos and their website bio just by using ChatGPT. And I'm like, so why wouldn't a company just use ChatGPT and not hire you? I don't know. That's just coming from me. I don't like, again, I don't understand. Maybe I'm just a boomer, Maybe this is me in my 30s becoming a boomer. Honestly, my findings from asking my own social media and looking on YouTube, again, I struggled to find something that was so powerful with this technology that my mind would be absolutely blown. I'm going to be honest, this tech is being shoved down our throats as the new revolutionary thing. They even said it in that commercial, you know, it's like first there was the caveman and then this and then that, and now the new one is ChatGPT. And they're trying to market this product to us as if we don't have to do anything anymore and the computer is going to do everything for us. And I need to ask you something. Is that a good thing? Because looking back on all of these tasks that I've done, if ChatGPT could have done all this for me flawlessly and seamlessly, I would definitely be impressed 100%. But where does that leave me with my own dopamine hit of problem solving and the thrill of being able to achieve something in my own life? While researching this video, Marques Brownlee, the biggest tech reviewer on YouTube, posted a video discussing and criticizing Apple's intelligence and how Apple Intelligence has been overpromised and underdelivered massively. And he did make the point of like, hey, imagine if this technology was real as they promise, right? And they're promising that you can just keep your phone in your pocket and you can ask Siri to order you an Uber to the airport. And then the phone does everything for you. And then you just have to show up and get in the car and get to the airport. And he was asking, is that a good thing though? Why does my phone all of a sudden is taking over my banking information and telling me where to go, and like I don't have to look at the app whatsoever?
If I'm a developer for Uber and this new Siri is supposed to be able to reach into my app and perform an action like calling a car. So the user just goes, hey Siri, call me an Uber to the airport. And then it does it without ever opening my app. I don't actually like that very much. That gives me less control. I don't get to do as much with that experience.
If it doesn't sit right with him, then I hope it resonates with the everyday person. And again, this is what I fear that this technology is trying to be marketed to us at, as if we don't have to do anything at all. And it reminds me a lot of the Simpsons episode where they get a smart house and then Marge doesn't have to do anything because the house cleans and cooks and does everything. So she doesn't have to lift a finger. And you know what happened to Marge? She became an alcoholic. That's what AI wants from us, substance abuse, but way more depressing because remember, it's also taking our jobs.
Oh, hi. Editor Warwick here. I got that wrong. I actually merged two Simpsons episodes into one. The one where Marge becomes alcoholic is the Hank Scorpio episode, which is kind of telling with the whole AI thing. And then the Smart House episode was like a treehouse of horror. I don't know. Use ChatGPT to look up which episode I'm talking about.
So what did I learn from this experiment? Nothing really. It kind of proved my point that I see this technology as like the I'm feeling lucky button when you type something into Google. You know, it's like an episode of Scooby-Doo where they take the mask off ChatGPT and it's just Reddit. The gang always solves the crime. But I am trying to keep this video as balanced as possible, and one could argue in the whole landscape of AI is that I'm complicit with AI because there are a lot of AI tools that I use in editing software to make my life easier. And I could argue, is that AI though? Or is it just advancements in software and they're just slapping AI over the top of it because it's the latest buzzword? I will admit, this technology is here to stay. So this video is basically rendered useless. I'm personally not going to stop ChatGPT or AI whatsoever. But the biggest thing that I fear this will have an impact in society is that it will be used for the wrong reasons. Corporations are already cutting massive amounts of workforces because they're all being replaced by AI. And that's scary as shit to think about. And I hate that people are saying you can use AI to make yourself money, but what you need to understand is if everyone's unemployed and we're all trying to use AI to make us money, who's gonna pay for that shit? Another big takeaway that I came across with ChatGPT is that it's sucking all the dopamine out of problem solving. And I think that problem solving and, you know, coming up with the answers for ourselves is a great tool that we need to do. It's like what? ChatGPT is going to give us all the answers, so we just have more time to doom scroll, and that's how we're going to get our dopamine? That sounds depressing as shit. I'm a big fan of advances in technology. I use it every day when it comes to the film industry, for example. There are a lot of tools, both in hardware and software, that is making my life a lot easier. So I can spend more time focusing on the big picture. The problem is, though, a lot of people don't have that luxury. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is here. But a message that I always go back to is get outside and touch some grass, you know? And honestly, I don't know how to end this video. I'm really tired. So with that, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.